Hey guys, what is going on? Anthony here with Pistons Talk. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. What I wanted to do today was we're going to be reacting to another mock draft. I know we did a mock draft reaction yesterday with Yahoo Sports. We talked about TJ so long. Check that out if you haven't already watched it. Today, we're getting into this Bleacher Report mock draft and who they have the Detroit Pistons drafting with the fifth overall pick. So let's get straight into it. So we're just going to go through these first four picks before the Pistons are on the clock in this mock draft. Obviously, you have Zachary Ricochet, who's been the number one consensus pick in most of these mock draft reactions that we have done on this channel. Washington Wizards, Alex Sarr. Again, Ricochet and Sarr, they flip in terms of like number one, number two overall selections. It really depends which mock you're reading, but they have Sarr going second overall to the Wizards. Number three, Reed Shepherd to the Rockets. I believe Yahoo had Reed 3 as well. And I think it's a good fit if Houston doesn't want to keep the pick. Number four, they have the Spurs selecting Modest Bazelis. Now, I do want to spend a couple of minutes on this because I know there are a lot of Pistons fans out there that really like Modest Bazelis as a prospect, as a player. They think he'd be a good fit on the Pistons. Now, from reading this Bleacher Report article, it sounds like Bazelis had a very good NBA combine. A lot of these prospects are doing individual workouts for these teams now, private workouts for these teams now. There's a real world where Bazelis could be a top four pick in this upcoming NBA draft. It wouldn't surprise me if he's top four. There's a lot of potential. If he hits his ceiling, he's going to be a very good player in this league. But just did want to touch on that for a minute or so because I know there's a lot of Pistons fans out there that are very high on Bazelis. Number five, why you're here, and this is going to be a very fun video because I know there's a lot of people that are absolutely going to hate this pick. So, Detroit Pistons 5, Donovan Clingan. Now, I think there are a lot of names out there that Pistons fans like. I've heard Clingan, I've heard Connect, Shepherd, Bazelis, Cody Williams. There's a lot of prospects that Pistons get drafted at 5. Now, Bleacher Report has him in their mock draft going to the Pistons at 5. And their explanation for it, I think, is going to piss a lot of people off. And I'm just warning you beforehand what these draft analysis are hearing, what they're talking to executives around the league, what the Pistons could possibly do. So we're going to react to a couple sentences from Bleacher Report. So just a little information about Donovan Clingan, 7'2", 282 pounds, 20 years old, and their pro comp for him is Roy Hibbert. That is a name I have not heard in quite some time. He was actually a pretty good player when he was healthy with the Pacers. But this is what they have to say about Donovan Clingan. It says, Donovan Clingan figures to be a trade-up target for defensive needy teams that see a surefire anchor in the 7'2 center. So let's react to that. Because there's a very strong possibility, you guys, that the Pistons look at Donovan Clingan. They look at their current front court, if you will. Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, James Wiseman, if you want to bring him back. If not, cool. Pistons have a lot of front court depth. They could possibly trade down, and that is something that I've talked about on the podcast. Like, do you draft a player, make a trade with the team that is maybe 6-14 in the lottery, or even maybe you trade out of the lottery, late first round, late to mid first round? Real possibility. The Pistons could possibly get draft capital. They could possibly get players that they like to win right now with Cade Cunningham and company. Real possibility for the Pistons not even to keep this fifth overall pick. So next part of the sentence, nothing really to react to. It says, for the Detroit Pistons, drafting the best player available will be priority, particularly with Trajan Langdon taking over, considering the current roster's young prospects aren't his guys. I agree with Bleacher Report. You're not going to draft for fit if you're the Pistons. You won 14 games last year. You're going to draft best player available. Now, if people think that Clingan at 5 is the best player available, I'll let them have those opinions. I personally think there are guys that are slipping in this draft, and I don't understand why. That I think potentially, if they hit their ceiling, they would be better. But I'm not gonna get up here and argue who I think is better. I'm just not. We're reacting to this article right now. Maybe that'll be a different video for a different day. But the last sentence, which we're gonna react to, because I know a lot of you guys are gonna have very strong opinions on this. It says, Clingan would give Detroit a surefire defensive anchor and some potential trade flexibility with Jalen Duren, who's been up and down to start his career. Now, that's a lot to dissect and get into. Now, there's no denying when you look at Donovan Clingan, 7'2", 280 pounds, he's going to be a rim protector in the NBA at the next level. I think we can agree there, right? Where I think a lot of you guys are going to have a problem with is the trade flexibility with Jalen Duren. I think it would be a mistake to move on from Duren at such a young age. He's 20 years old. Just came off his sophomore season. He's not supposed to be a finished product yet. Very rarely do draft picks come into the NBA and they have it figured out at 20 years old. It just doesn't happen. Very rare, right? I think Duren should be your franchise center, your starting center. I don't think there's a world where the Pistons look at Clingan and think, "Oh, we got Clingan now. Let's trade Duren." Like, who's to say that they keep the pick, they draft Clingan, and they keep Duren? Iron sharpens iron. Those two going at each other in practice would make each other better, in my opinion, anyways. Yes, was Duren's season not the best, 100%. I thought offensively he took strides, and that's what I like this season. Offensively, when he's around the rim, plays bully ball. We saw a little bit of a face-up game, and that develops. That's another element of his offensive game that I think could really help the Pistons, Cade and company. I think there's a lot to like with Duren. I think the questions we have, and we can get into this conversation, is the defensive end of the ball with Jalen Duren. It was not as consistent as the offensive side of the ball with Duren this year. And I think you could ask questions like, well, was he exhausted from giving so much energy on the offensive end? Real possibility. Was it his ankles? Maybe. He had a lot of ankle injuries, and he came back wearing ankle braces. I'm not going to speculate why he wasn't as locked in the defensive end. I think that would be unfair. The kid's only 20 years old, and so is Clingan, right? I think there's a real possibility if the Pistons really feel that Donovan Clingan is the best available prospect at 5. They could draft Clingan and keep Duren. You don't have to split them up. You just don't. I think there's a real world where they could be your starting center and backup center. And that's perfectly fine. I don't think you have to be drastic and say, well, hey, we got Clingan now, let's trade Duren. I just don't. I kind of disagree with this last part, and that's why I'm reacting to it. I know a lot of you guys have very strong opinions about Jalen Duren, and I understand that. I know I've been a little bit critical on him, but I've been critical on the defensive end of the floor. But I have to remind myself, the kid's 20 years old. But what I want to do next is go watch some tape on Donovan Clingan, kind of like how we did with TJ Salong yesterday, because maybe you haven't watched him yet. Maybe you're not really familiar with Donovan Clingan. Maybe you didn't watch March Madness. So we're going to go over and watch some Donovan Clingan highlights for a couple of minutes to kind of see what type of player he could possibly be at the next level in the NBA. Okay, so let's react to these Donovan Clingan highlights. Looks like he likes to finish close to around the rim like most centers do. Throws it up with two hands. I like that. I like centers that just go up strong, not trying to get fancy with, like, you know, the one-handed, like, little layups and stuff like that. Like his ability to protect the paint. I think that's something that's really appealing about him. And when you're 7'2", man, not too many guys are gonna like get over the top of you and, you know, put you in a poster. But I do like his ability just to defend. And Dan Hurley has done a really good job at preparing a lot of these UConn guys for the draft. I like that passing too. I think the passing's kind of underrated. Ability to the offensive rebound, you like that, and the putback, love it. See, that's the thing where when I watch him, because I want to watch that again, because that was a really nice pass. Let's see if we can break it down again. Like right there, finds the read, guy cuts. Like that right there is just such a high level skill. And I think that's something that's not really talked about his game enough is his ability to pass, read the defense, and find the open man. I think that's why you see a lot of teams wanting to trade up for him. But like I said, I like big men that can make the reads and pass. I think in the pick and roll, whether he's starting and you do pick and rolls with Cade, or he's coming off the bench, whoever the backup point guard is, we don't know yet. I think he'll be able to set some good screens, offensive rebound, block shots. Like there's a lot to like with him, but I could understand why some fans wouldn't want to draft him as high as 5. Because I know a lot of you guys really like the wings in this draft, and I think this is the one draft where I look at it, and there is a lot of wings in this upcoming draft that maybe you guys feel would be, best player available at 5. Like maybe it's Ron Holland, maybe it's Cody Williams, maybe you guys are really high on TJ Salon. I don't know. But I think when you look at the wing depth in this upcoming draft, you could possibly get a good wing to pair next to Cade Cunningham and Asar Thompson. But let me know what you guys think of this mock draft from Bleacher Report, their explanation why they feel that the Pistons may draft Donovan Clingan as high as 5, and their comments about if they draft Clingan, they could use Jalen Duren as a possible trade chip. Excuse me, I've been talking all day. I apologize. But I'll talk to you guys down below in the comment section. Like always, hope you guys are staying safe. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.